The European Union's call for citizens to stockpile 72 hours worth of supplies is more than just a precaution. It's a stark acknowledgement that the continent is facing an era of heightened instability, and the risks are no longer hypothetical. With war raging in Ukraine, growing geopolitical tensions, and the ever-present threat of cyber attacks and infrastructure sabotage, the EU's latest guidance reads less like a suggestion and more like a dire warning. For years, European leaders have hesitated to prepare their populations for worst-case scenarios. But this latest move signals a shift. The threat of war and crisis is no longer something that can be ignored. The EU Commission's new guidance makes it clear that Europe is entering a dangerous period of unpredictability. Citizens are now being urged to take responsibility for their own survival, at least in the critical first 72 hours of a crisis. This is not just about being ready for a natural disaster. It's about war, cyber attacks, and even the potential collapse of key infrastructure. The document does not shy away from the reality that European nations can no longer rely on the United States as an unwavering security partner. With the Trump administration taking an increasingly hostile stance towards NATO and questioning military aid to Ukraine, Europe is being forced to reconsider its own ability to defend itself. But the problem is that for many Europeans, this kind of preparedness is a foreign concept. Decades of peace and stability have lulled much of the population into a false sense of security, and governments have failed to instill a culture of resilience. Now, with war at their doorstep, they are scrambling to undo years of complacency. The European Commission's call for preparedness lessons in schools is an admission that the younger generations are not ready for the realities they may soon face. Teaching children how to resist disinformation is important, but it is also an acknowledgement that information warfare is already a major threat, a tool that hostile nations are using to manipulate public opinion and destabilize democracies from within. The recommendation to stockpile supplies is a necessary step, but it also exposes a larger issue. Europe is not ready for a prolonged crisis. 3 days' worth of food and water might be enough for a temporary emergency. But what happens if the crisis lasts longer? What if cyber attacks take down supply chains for weeks, or a military conflict cuts off access to essential goods? Many European countries rely heavily on imports, and disruptions to trade routes, whether from war, economic sanctions, or sabotage, could create shortages that extend far beyond the recommended 72-hour window. Germany's recent update to its defense strategy is a sign that some nations are beginning to take these threats seriously. But is it too little, too late? Russia has already proven that it is willing to use hybrid warfare tactics, from cyber attacks to energy blackmail, to weaken its adversaries. And as tensions rise, the possibility of direct conflict on European soil is no longer unthinkable. The EU's push for self-reliance among its citizens is an implicit admission that, in the event of a major crisis, governments may not be able to provide immediate assistance. The idea of a strong, centralized European response to emergencies sounds reassuring, but in practice, bureaucratic delays, political disagreements, and logistical failures could leave millions vulnerable. For now, the warning has been issued, but the real question is whether people will take it seriously. Many will dismiss it as unnecessary fear-mongering, believing that war or crisis could never truly reach their doorstep. But history has shown that complacency is often the most dangerous mistake. Those who wait until the crisis is upon them to prepare will find themselves at the mercy of circumstances they can no longer control. Europe is standing at a crossroads, and the time to take these warnings seriously is now, before it's too late.